with the military stuff?
I think it was at first, but now I've really adapted to it. Um, there's like no work-life balance, so at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
It's
Just
not
constantly
there.
working all the
Oh yeah,
time. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, like I just picked up 15 orders yesterday, and they're all in my car, and then I have like 4 or 5 on the way to my house, and
Jesus.
it's just bam, 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 bam,
Yeah.
bam. So
Yeah.
it's nuts, man. Never stops. It's a blessing though.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about it. Something I started, something I'm proud of, but
Yeah.
it's it can be overwhelming at times, which is a good problem to have. But I know once after I get all these orders done, and probably by end of January, I'm gonna relax on it for a little bit
Yeah.
because it's just even the last like 2 weeks, man. Like as soon as I get off of work, I'm in my office until midnight, sometimes
Mhm.
1, and
Yeah.
then it's like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Do you have busy like seasons where it's like, all right, during the summer, no one's really doing anything, but like this is like a lot of people trying to do like Christmas shopping, so they want like custom shoes
yeah,
and cleats for like, and then the my cleats, my
yeah,
cause,
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah. I'd say I've noticed a trend. Sometimes it can switch, but around like the summertime, I'll get one here and there. But like Christmas is huge.
Mm.
Like and this is, what's crazy is my original Instagram was deleted back in June, and I was like, okay, I might actually have a chilled Christmas this year, and then this year has been my craziest Christmas by far,
Mm.
not even close. So, yeah, definitely the holidays, and then sometimes in the spring I can get here and there. When it comes to athletes, though, it's more of like in the fall and winter. But you get people who will need just customs whenever. So, and now that I start customizing controllers, that's going to be another thing. So,
Are you hydro dipping or are you doing like actual?
actual paint,
Okay.
yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
dye them sometimes
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, man, it's
Well,
crazy.
I think that's a great way to open up the episode right there.
Yeah.
I am Maddie Light, joined by my co-host Maddie Heavy, and we got our first interview ever with someone who's a lot more following than us. Um, Chesler Customs. We've showcased you multiple times on our podcast
Yeah,
throughout, the time, and I have you linked on all of our like the descriptions and everything, just because I believe you are someone that people should try and like, feed you customers, and also is really just cool to look at. Like my own lady was just sitting there when I told her about it. She was like, "Oh my God, these are really cool. What?" And she's like looking at all the people and just like, that's pretty phenomenal to
yeah,
like bump elbows with these people of that high caliber. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah. So you saying like it's a good problem to have being swamped, especially
yeah,
with the caliber of people that are reaching out to you.
absolutely,
Yeah. I think that it brings a lot of eyes to you, and
yeah,
that's like the best thing possible.
Who's
absolutely.
the first guy that you were like, holy shit, this guy's asking for like who's your first big order?
I think so. My very first celebrity I worked with, this was in, I think either high school or right around the time I graduated. Russell Westbrook's barber reached out to me, and this is when he was in OKC. Mr. Triple Double
Yeah.
when he was on the rise. So that was cool. But I think I think big time celebrity that I'd say I customized shoes for was probably either Bronny James or Terrence Crawford, and that both happened around the same time in 2019. So those two, I was like, dude, this is sweet. And then I knew it was gonna happen, but it's just a snowball effect, right? So like, going back to when my Instagram was deleted back in June, I wasn't worried because I've built my name respectfully with the last 6 years, and I knew like if people want custom shoes from me, like they know where to find me, and I've taken care of the people that have ordered from me, like so if they want to work with me, then they can find me. So um, that wasn't an issue, but yeah, I'd say probably Bronny James or Terrence Crawford were probably the first two big ones. Maybe JoJo Siwa around that time as well.
Mhm.
That whole year, end of 2019, beginning of 2020 was just that's when it really, really kind of took off. And then, I was in the dorm, so I had nothing to do outside of work, so it was just grind, grind, grind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those two.
Yeah.
But
For Brian James, because he did the regular show shoes.
yep.
Does he give you a lot of direction, or is he just like, I like regular show? do
Yeah,
something.
yeah. He just kind of told me what kind of characters he wanted to incorporate, and then just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
So that was more of like a freestyle. That's typically how it is with most customs, especially with the athletes. Obviously, there's some times where they say, "I want this, this, and this," which is fine. But
Mhm.
uh, sometimes, even when I gift an athlete or a celebrity a pair of shoes, they would just say, "Hey, just do your thing." So,
Mhm.
so really, just kind of depends on the individual and what they want.
Is that what do you prefer being able to do your own thing and come up with your own like design to it, or do you like a little bit of instruction or
I think I think I'd prefer the instructions. That way I know kind of what to follow, and essentially like that'll ease my mind in terms of like knowing what my customer is exactly looking for.
Mhm.
Because essentially my biggest thing is I want to make sure the customer is 100% satisfied.
Yeah.
So before I even start the artwork, I will make sure that we go through everything and they know what I'm going to put on anyways. But
Mhm.
um, I mean, it's all situational based. Like um, if I'm doing a controller, or it really could depend on my mood. Like if I just feel like freestyling something and someone's like, "Hey,
Mhm.
do whatever," that's cool. I know a lot of artists love the words when people say like, "Hey, I trust you, just do whatever."
Mhm.
So that's awesome sometimes
Yeah.
too. But um, yeah, it really just situational based
Mhm.
for sure. So.
So I know you did shoes for Ndamukong Suh's wife
Uh-huh.
and Dak Prescott's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Are they more like are the wives and the girlfriends more meticulous, while the athletes are like just kind of do your own thing?
So I was on a Zoom call with Nadam Kansu's wife, and she kind of handled everything. And she was like, "Hey, this is what kind of we're looking for." So we did like a design breakdown. And then I presented those to her. And then when I went on a Zoom call with Nadam Kansu, he was like he already knew the design we were kind of going with. I was just kind of BSing with him and whatnot. And he was like, "Cool, whatever." And then with Dak Prescott's wife, I think she was kind of like, "Hey, this is just what we want. Just kind of do your own thing." So, I think it's all just again just situational based and depending on the person and what they're looking for. Um, so yeah,
How does that like whole process go? Like, do they just reach out to you like on Instagram and shit, or
yeah,
word of mouth, or
it's both, man. So sometimes celebrities will reach out to me, I'll reach out to them, and then we'll just discuss kind of what they're looking for. What I'm if it's like sometimes I'll do a free pair of custom shoes or whatever for
Mhm.
like a shout out. So
Yeah.
sometimes I'll let them know like what I'm willing to do for free, because like unless it's somebody huge, like I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours on something that's free, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it really just depends.
Mhm.
So, but that's the most common process is through Instagram. Sometimes I'll get numbers. Like Dylan Raiola, he's not on social media like
Yeah.
that. So like before he even knew me, the person that got me in contact with him was like, "Hey, he wants you to text his number." And I was like, I feel like that's like really personal,
Yeah.
but I don't even think he really runs like his social media like that.
Mhm.
Um, so he's kind of off off that. But if an athlete or celebrity in general really aren't on social media or whatever, or sometimes even if I've worked with them multiple times and they know like I'm good for it, whatever,
Yeah.
then they'll just say, "Hey, here's my number." So
Mhm.
really just depends on what they
Yeah.
prefer. So
So is that something you normally run into where like it's whatever social media agent is running the account reaching out to you, or like have you found a
uh
lot of them actually do run their own accounts? Because
I
I feel like
think
that's something a lot of people like kind of wonder themselves too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ran into somebody that um runs or has like a manager run their account. And if
Mhm.
they do have a manager, like I've had people's managers reach out to me like directly,
Yeah.
or somebody that like wants to gift them something. But yeah, I think every time I've worked with a celebrity or athlete, they've kind of ran their own page and did their
Okay.
own thing. So
It's pretty interesting.
yeah,
Because I had always figured, you're that popular. Nah, fuck it. I'll pay someone $30 an hour to run this shit,
yeah,
and then they'll handle everything. And if I see something that I like, reach out to this person, let them know.
sure,
But yeah, that is interesting.
yeah.
Something different. to hear, at
Yeah.
least from what my perspective of wasn't on it.
That's what I thought too. Like, especially when I got into this business, I thought like, hey, I'm going to be talking to a lot more managers than
Mhm.
I am than athletes.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the opposite, which is kind of crazy. But I will say, like, when you have a manager, like, you can have somebody manage your account, but you can still access it and message people if you want. So, like, I think when I customized cleats for Michael Parsons, I think his account is ran by his manager, but I think he handles like his messages and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that's
Okay.
why I was talking
Yeah.
to him. But so yeah, it's all situational
Yeah.
based for sure.
Okay.
Those are those all black ones, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
those were pretty nice. I like
Yeah.
those.
I spent so much money on those, man. Like so when I Uh, so I paid somebody almost 400 bucks to get me in contact with him. And this was the year when so what I try to do every year is I try to balance out my profits and my expenses with my business. And then
Mhm.
when I pay for like those shout outs or supplies or anything, obviously that's a claim, right?
Mhm.
So I paid somebody like almost $400 and was like, hey, get me in contact with this guy. And then we made it happen. And then
Yeah.
that was super cool. But I think that's the most I've ever paid.
How does that work? You pay someone to get in contact with you? Like that guy just gets 400 bucks just because he knows a guy?
Yeah.
That's fucking
So
ridiculous.
like
It's
I'm in the
crazy.
wrong
if that
business.
yeah, it's just like I'd be more worried about like if this doesn't fall through or if it does fall through and whatnot. Like now I'm just out 400 bucks. Like I'm assuming you
Yeah.
still claim it.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%. That was more of like the reason why I paid that much is because that was one of those years where the expenses weren't really matching up with the profits, and that's
Mhm.
just something I like to do personally. So I was like, I got some area to play with, so
Yeah.
that's why I kind of took that risk. But yeah, I don't, or sometimes I'll even offer like a free pair of shoes or
Mhm.
something like that. But
Yeah.
I typically don't even pay somebody until like somebody actually reaches out. But most, I've never ran into a situation really like that
Mhm.
to where somebody just responds and then doesn't
Yeah.
respond because I mean most people are interested in custom
Mhm.
shoes or cleats.
Yeah.
But
You've been
And,
doing this for, oh, sorry.
no, no, you go ahead.
Well, you've been doing this for a minute, right? You've been doing
Mhm.
this since high school. Have you ever had any like sketch instances where they're like, hey, meet me up in this, dark alley, and you're just like, no, I'm cool, man. We can meet up in like a Walmart parking lot or something.
I think the only meetups I've really done is like when I have to, whenever I come back to Omaha,
Mm.
I have a few orders that I'll bring back, or if I meet somebody. But I typically I used to do a lot of like marketplace deals in high school, so I know like the whole like common sense shit, like meeting up
Mhm.
with somebody in a public
Yeah.
area. But I mean, but to me though, like it doesn't I don't really think about like that too much because like before I even meet up with a customer, I make sure that they pay me. Just like it's the
Yeah.
same thing like before they before I ship out an order. Like I won't ship out your order until I've received the payment.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just because if that does happen, then it's
Yeah.
like, oh shit. So
Mhm.
so yeah.
So that speaking of high school, like you've been doing this what, like sophomore, junior years or so?
I think I really started to get into the whole thing, I think about mid to late sophomore year
Okay.
when I was working at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And I didn't, it wasn't even, honestly, it wasn't even really serious until I think right around the end of senior year when KETV came over and they did that whole story on
Mhm.
me. And then I was like, holy shit, this is something that could be
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think around the end of sophomore year is when
Yeah.
I kind of started that whole
Yeah.
thing. So,
And I remember back in high school, like played ball together,
hmm
and then had couple years of weights class
yep,
together, and like I knew you were doing customs. It was just kind of low key,
yep,
one or two here and
yeah,
there. And I saw the KETV story. I'm like, oh shit, this
yeah.
guy's gonna pop off. Like this is pretty dope. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna join the Air Force. And I was just like, all right. So right as you're getting going, oh, we're gonna take a 3 month pause, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
yeah,
That was kind of tough. I mean, luckily my business wasn't too like crazy then, but I like the whole time I was in basic, I was just thinking like as soon as I got to my technical training school, I ordered shoe supplies and shoes and I
yeah,
was like I'm back on this shit.
yeah. You take
So,
that basic trading pay, and you're like, all right,
yep,
I'm gonna
yeah,
I'm gonna drop a
yeah.
ban on this.
Yeah, same thing I did when I was at Taco Bell. Like almost all of my paychecks were just like towards shoe supplies
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and then it just in the barracks all day, all night, pretty much.
yeah, I didn't even like when I was in like so after basic training, I was in Mississippi and I was only there for like a month and a half. But
Mhm.
when I got these pair of shoes, like I had to do everything by like hand draw pencil because I had like no supplies, just
Mhm.
paint. But I was like, man, like I need to do something, and like shoes are like a getaway, so
Mhm.
that's what's really good about it. But yeah, I was back on the grind, man. Even when I deployed, like I brought all my shit out there.
You deployed?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Where
was
to?
small base out in the Middle East, end of
Okay.
22 to 23.
Yeah.
So yeah, I brought all my shit out there and got some orders done.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm assuming the orders kind of slowed down a little bit.
yeah, I got two orders while I was out there, but
Hmm.
like I would just buy some cheap shoes out there to kind of
Practice the
speed up the
craft.
time,
Yeah.
yep, and do that and whatnot. So
Maybe play with some different designs or some.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So
'Cause I was gonna ask, like, shit, you're in the Middle East, buy those knockoff,
that's exactly what I did.
jingle truck
Yeah,
shoes and all
yeah.
this stuff. Yeah.
Went over to it was like a small store on base, and it was like $20 for these all white shoes, and I was like, dude, fuck it.
Yeah.
So
You're just over there throwing money around, like, all right, give
yeah,
them all to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because I actually one of those questions was like, how are you handling everything while you deploy and and whatnot? How does that?
so when before I deployed, I posted on social media a few times and just I was very vague, but I said like, hey, I won't be able to do orders for the next 6 months
Hmm.
starting this time. So if you want to get your orders in, like let me
Yeah.
know. And then people messaged me obviously, and there was just orders I couldn't do while being out there, which is
Hmm.
fine, right? If they wanted to kind of reconnect when I got back, they could, but um yeah, it was very limited, but I made sure I brought all my stuff out there. I was actually gonna ship it out there. I took it to UPS like a few days before I was leaving. And bro, they told me they're like, yeah, we can get it there tomorrow, but it's gonna be like $700 for this small little
Yeah.
box. And I was like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what I found out from TSA was that your check-in bags, you can put basically whatever you want in there.
Yeah.
Because I was worried about the size of the bottles of paint
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And they were like, no, that's cool. So I was like, cool. So then when I got all my bags when I got out there, like some shit was broken, but
Hmm.
like the thing that did suck is my airbrush was broken. So
Oh.
I couldn't use that, but like my Cricut machine and all my
Yeah.
paints were like good and shit like that. So um yeah, it was just, whenever I had free time, whenever I wanted to get some content uploaded. But like when I was over there though, I was stressing because at the time, like I started to realize what algorithm was and
Hmm.
how Instagram works is like if you're not constantly uploading, like
Yeah.
your views are gonna be shit,
Hmm.
right? And then they started getting to like the reels and stuff like that. So I was like, damn, I gotta do content. Now I don't really care
Yeah.
because people will reach out to me and I'll do it whenever. But like, so yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of did it whenever I
Yeah.
could.
That's actually something I could talk to you more about off air
Yeah,
on that. But yeah, no, the algorithm is when I was doing Twitch, when I was at Fort Carson,
yeah,
I was really looking at the algorithm and everything like that, and my I realized if I streamed 4 hours a day, at least 4 times a week,
yep,
and kept it consistent with the schedule, and it was definitely hard
yeah,
while still being in the military, but
yep,
like I grew from my 12 followers to 100 plus
yeah.
in like probably a couple months doing that.
Damn.
And I'm just like, all right, cool, like staying consistent with it.
Yep.
And then I had to move to Fort Riley. And then as soon as I get to Fort Riley, I deploy. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yep.
This sucks. And
Yep.
then as soon as I got back, tried to get back on my streaming, it was right back to like day one again. I'm like,
Yep.
God, it really killed all the motivation that I just had.
Yep.
And it's just like, now this sucks. And now I'm also in multiple leadership roles.
Yep.
I can't really be handling, relationship and all this stuff.
Sure.
And shit, I just gave up. You obviously, you
That's
got
fair.
all your stuff going on. You
Yeah.
stayed more dedicated to it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's definitely something that like opened up my eyes to it. I'm like, oh wow, you can really make this grow
Yeah.
super fucking quick
Yeah.
if you just pay attention to the algorithm and
Yeah.
times to
Yep.
what are the hot times to post, what are
Yep.
the hot times to comment something, put up a reel at this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that sucks. So is like about that is like you can grow super quick, but then as soon as you stop, like Instagram just stops fucking with you, and they're
Yeah.
just like whatever. And now Instagram has hopped on that TikTok trend,
Hmm.
to where if you don't post reels, they're not pushing your shit
Yeah.
out. Like my old page, I had almost 20,000 followers, and then when I would look at some of the statistics and the insights, like each post would only have like 1,000 views, and I'm like, I never paid for any followers.
Mhm.
This shit's whack. But like now Instagram will try to have you pay for advertisements to have your post pushed
Mhm.
out, but it's like, why should I pay for my followers to see
Yeah.
my stuff? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like when I was in the dorms, when I was posting like 2 or 3 times a week, I would get 1,000 likes, just like that on a
Yeah.
pair of shoes that like aren't even like on the same level compared to what I am today. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's just because of consistency. But yeah, algorithm is
Yeah.
definitely a thing, and it's unfortunate. Like especially for entrepreneurs, like social media they don't typically show love to
Mhm.
entrepreneurs like that. So it's a struggle. But yeah,
Well, it
man.
just kind of goes to show like how like business and whatnot has started to change, and we have to adapt to the times
Yep.
now of just evolving to being more into social media and
Yeah.
whatnot and staying consistent with it. It's honestly working better than TV ads,
Yeah.
radio, or all that stuff.
Sure.
I would dare to say traditional forms of advertisement just
Yep.
because of how it is now. Even though it fully hasn't been phased out, but
Yep.
yeah, it's definitely expanded and it makes it, I don't want to say simple because it
Yeah.
still is difficult,
Yeah.
but like it still is simple to at least like learn because they give you a lot of the tools
Yep.
to grow a business and like you obviously did it.
Yeah.
And so
Why
yeah,
did
it's
why did your first Instagram account get deleted?
Dude, long story, man. So basically, in in 2019 of October, September, I posted a pair of custom shoes, and they had a Nebraska logo on them. And so they were a gift from my dad. But what's crazy is the day I was gonna gift him these shoes, he passed away.
Mm.
Fucking nuts, right? So then fast forward around this time last year. Um, the University of Nebraska, their copyright infringement department found that post and they reported it. And when somebody reports your Instagram or content, you can see not only who reported it, but why they reported it, and then an email associated with whoever reported it, right? So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I apologize. I utilized your logo without your permission. However, I gained nothing from this. It was a gift from my dad before he passed away. Can you unreport it? Excuse me. And essentially, they said like, "Hey, we apologize, but we don't care because you utilized our logo," which is fair, right? From a technical standpoint,
mhm,
right? Like, I'm not upset about it. So then a few months later, in April, the actual NCAA copyright infringement reported a pair of customs that I did for a college athlete.
Mm.
Again, made nothing from that. And then fast forward a few months, I think what they were doing is waiting to see if I deleted the like any college themed customs, but I wasn't connecting the dots, unfortunately, so that backfired on me. But then in June, they reported another pair of customs, and I think all of the college themed customs that I created, I gained nothing from them. It was more of like just trying to get some advertisement out there, right?
mhm,
And doing it for some athletes, kind of build connections and stuff like
yeah,
that. So then that third report, Instagram was like, "Hey, 3 strikes, so we're gonna close your account really quick." And then they did a review, and then I reached out to them, and they were like, "Well, you violated like one of our policies, and now you're not getting your account back." So I
yeah,
was like, "Cool."
That's fucking crazy
Dude,
though.
you know what's crazy is like, again, from a technical standpoint, I get it, but this is $1 billion like industry where it's like I'm not losing you guys any money, and hundreds, if not thousands, of people not only resell college items but create them just like I do. So
yeah,
There's like two Instagram accounts that I follow that's all they do. They
yeah,
go to
yeah,
fucking yard sales and they sell for like
yeah,
two
yeah,
times what they
it's
bought it
it's
yeah,
there.
thousands of people at least, right? But I think what it was um, just the right person found it, and then the
Yeah.
right person at Nebraska. Um, they probably knew somebody at NCAA because they fall under NCAA or whatever. So they're like, hey, take a look at this guy's stuff. We can only report our stuff. Um, so again, from a technical standpoint, I get it, but
How's your fan? Did that kind of hurt? You're just like, damn.
dude, I'm not gonna
Because you're
lie.
still wearing the merch. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love the big red.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. At first, I was like, this kind of stings. But what's crazy? Here's the thing, though. So when I posted that in 2019, September, in November of 2019, 2 months later, I posted the same, not the same, but some Nebraska custom boxing shoes I did for Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, with
But
the
they
throw the
didn't. They
bones.
didn't report those.
I was gonna ask about that because I saw
So
that they had that. I was like, is
yeah,
that not copyrighted on their
right.
part?
So I was like, huh, this is kind of odd. And what's kind of crazy is like, I just collaborated with the Nebraska men's basketball team, and they wanted me to throw a Husker logo on some shoes. So I think it was just somebody doing their job, which again, it's fine, right?
So with that, what you're doing with the Huskers right now, how are you gonna post it to show
Yeah.
and then go like, hey, like, is there a way to show like, hey, I have approval to do these customs?
So I thought about that, but I don't think they can. I don't think you can essentially get approval because like I think if you get approval, like you'll have to go through so many, like jump through so many loops, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they tried to come back on me in any way, I would say, hey, like you can talk to this person and this person. This is an official collaboration, and artists do it with schools all the time, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
once whoever it is realizes like, oh, he actually worked with the team, then they're more like lenient, right? But if it's just something that you post to post, and that's where someone can kind of say, hey, like, let's take a look at this. But again, I'm not like I'm a realist. I'm not upset because it's somebody doing their job.
Right.
Um and I get it. Like and there's nothing I can control about it now. Like there's no reason for me to be fucking salty about it cuz I can't change anything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So um it's crazy because when that did happen, I thought I was actually worried because there was a few rush orders I had to get done and I didn't remember some of these customers' Instagram, but they followed I made this backup page is my main page now. Excuse me, but I made that page, and some of those individuals followed that, and then I actually had to reach out to a customer on Venmo because they paid me for the shoes on Venmo, and I was like, "Hey, this is my new Instagram. Please message me."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a crazy. I don't want to say it was a little stressful. It was a little overwhelming, but I knew I was gonna be all right,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Like, and again, like just kind of, and I say this in the like not in a cocky way, but again, like I've built my name that long to where
Yeah.
it's like people will reach out, and that's exactly what happened. And I knew that because, like, again, I've taken care of every person I've worked with, and I know as a customer, like if I'm working with somebody, or shit, if I even go to the store, right? Like if I feel welcomed and taken care of, like I'm gonna go back. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And that's how I kind of look at it that way. Um, so yeah, it was crazy, but
Do you follow? Because I know there's a whole bunch of people that do that shit on social media now, where they make their own content, like they make their own like pages just dedicated to artwork they do for athletes.
yep.
Do you follow a lot of those people to see who they're working with?
Not really, man.
No.
I like when I do see things, I know a few artists and I'm big on like, dude, this is cool, like congratulating, but I'm just so busy and just kind of, focus in my own lane and
Mm.
kind of taking care of what I have to take care of to where it's like I don't really worry about anyone else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a few artists that I've built, friendships with that I, follow
Mm.
and stay up to date with and, talk to them every once in a while. So
Is there like an inner respect between like other every artist that's out there kind of doing it, or
dude, you know what? So when I first got into the custom game, I was in a custom Facebook page and I didn't realize this and multiple people told me this when I first got in, but a lot of people will get like jealous of each other.
Mhm.
Because like I it's so weird, but like there was even people that I would teach and I knew people who would teach other people like specifically how to customize shoes. And I guess no one that I've taught, but I've known people that have taught other people how to customize shoes. And as soon as that person catches on, they all of a sudden compete with this person that
Mhm.
taught them. It's like, oh, I'm actually better. I think that shit's so fucking old.
Yeah,
Like,
it's also childish.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
childish. But as like, I think I'm not too like, how do I say this? I think that's why I only stay up to date with like and kind of follow certain artists because I know there's a respect. But
Mhm.
there's artists that I've been encountered with, and it's more of like a
Yeah.
competition. I'm like, dude, I just compete with myself. Like I don't give a fuck what anyone else has
Yeah.
going on. I'll help people when I can, but
Mhm.
like if someone comes to me and it's like, hey, I'm better than you, I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just me though.
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna be like that,
Mhm.
but like, yeah.
When you were younger, did you ever try to get into those beefs with some of those other customs?
I think there were some like teaching moments for sure. But when I was younger, I knew my game wasn't like I wasn't like I was still in the learning phase. I still am learning, but like it wasn't great, so I wasn't gonna like say too much. But there was a few arguments I got involved with, like on this custom sneaker Facebook page. But it's just like as I've grown older, like I don't take social media serious unless it
Mm.
has like involved with my business. Like I don't even fucking like social media.
Mhm.
Like if it wasn't for my business, I probably wouldn't be on it
Yeah.
because I'm glued to my phone and I hate it, but I have to
Mhm.
be. Like I just it sucks, but
Yeah.
it's part of
And
the
other than
business.
just the, maybe checking up on someone on Facebook, like, oh, hey, they're doing good. They just,
Yeah. Yeah.
got some kids.
Yep.
That's about it for
Yep.
social media.
You want
Yeah.
some more beers? I'm gonna go get
I'm good,
myself
man.
a beer.
Appreciate
Yes,
it.
I would go for another beer. Yeah, I was curious, like, because I've heard like stories from like different people and whatnot, like especially amongst the athletic world too.
Yeah.
Like, there's always some sort of beef going on. So I was like, okay, is it kind of the same thing going on here? Especially if you teach someone.
I don't want to say, yeah. Sorry. No, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, yeah, that was pretty much finished with my
I don't want to say it's human nature, but I think it's more common to where
thinking.
if somebody catches on to something and they feel confident, they're just gonna compete with somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. Like I'm not saying like it doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I've definitely seen that before, to where it's a little, people can get jealous or compete with other people,
Yeah.
whatever. And there's even been times where like I've customized shoes for somebody, like an athlete, and then somebody I know customizes shoes for them as well.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like
Yeah.
I've even gotten other customizers
Mhm.
in contact with celebrities that I
Yeah.
know or worked with,
Yeah.
because whatever.
Is there
But
certain like art styles that like someone asked for and you're like, I can't do that, but this guy he can do it pretty well.
oh yeah, I'm still learning the whole portrait thing. But
Mm,
there's been a few times someone reaches out to me and I'm like, I can't, but reach out to this guy. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So yeah, still learning that, but that shit's fucking hard. So
I saw you did one for Travis Hunter
yep.
as a Husker fan, and I'm assuming your whole family's Husker. Did anyone give you like, dude, betrayal
Uh
on the highest level?
I had a few friends that reached out and they're like, "What the fuck you doing?" But like Travis is such a good dude, man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny. So when I first met up with him, I gave him some custom cleats, and this was the week before he they were playing Nebraska and Boulder last year.
Yeah.
So when they beat us, and I told him I was a Husker fan, and he was like he was just like, "Oh shit, whatever, we're gonna beat them." I was like, "All right, we'll see."
Mm,
Obviously, they beat us, right?
yeah.
And he was actually gonna wear the custom cleats I made for him, versus Nebraska, but the coach wanted every player to be uniform, so they all wore his cleats. And I think he wore them the next week though, but. Yeah, Travis is a good dude, man. Super humble guy. I talk to him every once in a while.
Mm.
But yeah, he's a good dude.
We did a whole bunch of his. He had like some sort of like because I saw like him and a whole bunch of kids having some
Yeah.
of your cleats. Does he have like a foundation where he does stuff like that or?
No, I think those were just kids in his neighborhood that kind of look up to him, and he wanted to
Wow,
kind of do
that's pretty cool.
something. Yeah.
Who was
So
it?
Travis Hunter.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
actually pretty interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. So that was super cool. Time consuming, but it was cool. So.
With how busy you are, have you ever told a celebrity athlete like no or like not right now or anything like that?
Oh yeah, all the time, man.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the deadlines are like unreasonable, or I'm so busy.
Mm.
Um, it's just like we can reconnect at some point, right? But yeah,
What's
it,
a like a really unreasonable one? You don't have to name the name, but just like I need 10 custom shoes in like a week.
God, that's a curveball. I don't know. There's been times. I mean, shit. There's there's actually one right now. It's not unreasonable, but like there's not a celebrity, but a customer. Their cleats actually just arrived at my house today, but they need them by this Saturday. And
Oh
I'm
damn.
yeah. So I told the guy, I was like, yeah, we can make this happen, but I have to get these cleats done tomorrow when I get home, and then I'll ship them out like Wednesday, maybe Thursday. But I
Hmm.
told him I was like, you're gonna have to pay for the overnight shipping. So that's
Hmm.
whatever. But
Was he okay with that?
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm
But
assuming your UPS people just know you,
bro.
or
Oh
yeah.
my god. So like the first like 3 months after like 3 or 4 months, I went into USPS. I go to the same one every time,
Mhm.
and they started to realizing. And then right when I walk in, they're like, "Hey, here's some priority labels," because that's what I do every time.
Yeah.
And then like there'll even be a line, and they'll see me and be like, "Hey man, come up here. I'll give you your labels." And then they obviously call me Josh. Like I'll
Yeah.
walk in there, and be like, "Hey Chesler, how you doing?" I'm like, so one time, yeah, they would.
You send
It's
each other Christmas cards.
yeah,
Yeah.
Every year, get
literally,
each other
yeah,
presents.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna make like UPS custom shoe for them? Hey man, it's for
dude,
you and your store.
that'd be
Honestly,
awesome.
Yeah.
get some like steel toe,
Yeah,
like
some
customs.
yeah, yeah.
Roll it up, like, what's up? They get rid up for fucking,
Would you do combat boots? Would you do custom combat boots?
Fuck yeah, I would.
I
I
got an
should.
old pair that I'll throw
Yeah,
you
hell
right
yeah.
now.
I actually had somebody that reached out to me about a month or two ago, and I was in a PME class, which is just professional military education.
I was gonna ask
Yeah.
because I had no idea.
And she was like, "Hey, I got these military boots, but they're not in regs. Can you dye them this coyote brown, which is our colors for our regs?" And I was like, "I could, but they don't make that color and dye, so I couldn't do that." But yeah,
Hmm.
so
Do you have to have a lot of like conversation with people where you're like, dude, you need to stop asking me for fucking custom shoes.
dude,
Like even just like people that you know on a personal level.
no, man, I think there was a situation where like there's been times where I've worked with customers and like on a respectful level, like I'll never work with them again just because of some of the things that happen.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't think so.
No. Hmm.
What's your average like turnaround, or like what's the average two-part
Yeah,
question? How many do you normally kind of take on at one time, and then like orders and whatnot?
sure.
And then what's the average turnaround for it?
So when I send out messages to whoever's inquiring about an order, I tell them 1 to 3 months just because, military life can get in the way.
Yeah.
But then I can also offer a rush fee to
Mhm.
where like people's orders can get done within 1 to 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Right now it's kind of tricky though because like obviously Christmas delayed shipping,
Yeah.
so um everything around this time is just like all orders are rush orders, right? But typically um I'd say probably averages like maybe a month.
A month.
Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but also there's some days where I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like being in the office right now,
Yeah.
but
You gotta have that good, every now and then take a little break.
yeah, for
Well,
sure.
he said that work life balance is just
Yeah.
not there.
Bro,
Yeah.
it's not. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's so many times where I even wake up before work and then
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I gotta start on this, and I'm in the office until
Mhm.
midnight after
Yeah.
work. Like that shit's fucking
Then you get
unreal.
probably 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Have to
Average.
get up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm today I'm running off like 4.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So
God damn.
Yeah.
yeah, and I've been driving all fucking day. I delivered an order today, and then I got right when I leave here, I got to meet one of the Creighton players,
Yeah.
give him his shoes.
Yeah.
So it's go go go, man.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you
Fucking
have
crazy.
the Creighton shoe?
They're in the car. They're the ones I actually posted today.
Oh, okay.
That's
The
for
feather
Yeah.
ones.
I saw
I
that. Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So yeah, those shits took fucking forever.
Yeah.
That was like 8 feet of stencils on both of their shoes. Yeah,
Oh,
bro. Yeah,
wow.
because his shoes are size 18.
God
Yeah,
damn.
yeah. Could knock somebody out with that shit.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, that shit was
What does it weigh? Like,
dude, fucking brick.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I've worked on a few size 18s though. It's not bad. This one athlete I did shoes for, he was like a sophomore in high school. And I was like, "Yeah, what size you wear?" And he said 18. I was like, "Bro, what the fuck are
You're
you? What are you
you're a
even?"
child.
Where do
Yeah,
you get
you know what
shoes
I
like
mean?
that
Like
when you're
you,
not fucking
bro,
famous?
like Zach Eady, he hit when we were talking a few weeks ago. He was like, "Hey, you got any shoe size 22?" I was like, "Who has a size
Yeah.
22?"
What?
Like, so I had to go on a website and it was literally like shoes that are bigger than a size 18.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts. Athletes.
How much do those cost?
So when it goes up to size 18, it's just a regular price,
Okay.
just like compared to
So
like a
up to
regular
size
men's size.
18 regular cost, and then 19 plus.
That's when you have to go on special websites.
Yeah.
But sometimes like I will tell players like, "Hey man, like you got an equipment manager, they're obviously hooking you up, just send me a
Yeah.
pair." You know what I mean? So yeah, it's
Yeah.
all situation based, but it's crazy.
So
So-
you go ahead.
Is it easier to work on the bigger ones because there's a little bit more room, or
Dude, that's all depending on like what the artwork is.
yeah,
But like this, like on the size 18s, man, just doing like both shoes. Not it was less than both because I started on touch ups on those Creighton customs. I think it took me close to 2 hours just for little touch ups.
damn,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dude, that shit's real, man. Like
Yeah.
the time consuming. Like I
Mhm.
tell people, like I can't zoom through this shit.
Yeah.
And it's not even because like I'm a slow worker, but like my attention to detail has to be like there, and I get
Yeah.
OCD sometimes,
Mhm.
which is a good thing. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fucking
Sometimes it'll be, kind of a speed bump that you're like, fuck, I really don't want to deal with this.
bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that was like those two customs were like probably the most time consuming I spent on one pair. Like since the very first customs I did for Zion, the anime pair. Like
Yeah.
I told myself I was like, hey, like I was getting burnt out of this pair and things weren't going right, and I was just like, I got to get this done because this shout out's going to be
Mhm.
worth it. Like connection's going to be worth it.
So when you mess up, is that like get a new pair of shoes, start from scratch, or do you sand them down? Do you paint over it? What does that look like?
When it's a mess up, like typically like if it's like a little bit of paint will peel up with the stencil or the tape and it's just going over that, or if there's like overspray, I'll just lay like a base coat of white and then go over it with that original shade. So
Mhm.
that's typically about it.
Mm.
I've gotten to the point now where like obviously my artwork will never be perfect, but like I spend so much time making sure that everything's right, and I tend to go like slow, and then like obviously fingers crossed, but and knock on wood, but to where that doesn't really like happen. So, um, yeah, there was one time I was airbrushing a shoe, and then like something happened with my airbrush. I can't remember. I think this was 2020, and the paint just like splattered all over the shoe on the airbrush, and I was or out of the airbrush, and I was like, what the fuck? But
Like
good
there's a
thing, like
clump in the gun and it just
yeah,
like shot out.
yeah, dude. And I was like, it's almost like if you take like paint out of a bottle and literally just poured it like it was thick. Yeah. So I had to like wipe it all down and
And start again.
yeah.
Is it so like if it's something like that, you're like rushing to grab like acetone or something like that to clean it off, and you're like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Yeah, so I think what I did was I just grabbed a towel and wiped it, and then what I did was I finished the paint job, pulled everything up, and then obviously there's touch ups. That's where I go in with the white
Mhm.
paint,
Yeah.
or the background of the shoe. But yeah, that was interesting. But
Do you have to like clean through all your equipment
yeah,
consistently? Okay.
bro, every time. And
Yeah.
like the thing that's bro, I'm so bad about this, but like sometimes I'm so fucking tired at night to where like I have like black in my airbrush and I'm like, I don't want to clean up my airbrush tonight. And then I let it sit for like a day or two
Yeah.
and then I'm like taking like an hour just to clean it out.
Just
And
to clean it out.
I'm like, fuck, I'll never do this again. And I do it like 3 days later.
Yeah.
But dude, it's a bad habit,
Yeah.
man. But
It's like an every night kind of thing you have to clean through.
whenever I use it, yeah.
Okay.
But like before I left my home to come here, I obviously I cleaned out my airbrush, and then you can obviously just let it sit,
Mhm.
and then sometimes I'll put a little bit of cleaner through it before I start, just to make sure I get anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a girl, right? Did she ever ask for anything like, "Hey, I want this personal for you," and like anything like that?
You said do I have a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I made me and my wife customs a long time ago, but she hasn't really asked for anything.
No.
Get some like Vans with like the wedding date or something like that on
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Some like casual everyday shoes that maybe on like a special date night where yeah.
So she's not asking you to do custom nail jobs where they paint the nails and stuff like that. 'Cause-
No, she actually does her own nails. Like she has all this. Like she wants to be like a nail tech on the side. So,
Gotcha.
Oh nice.
yeah, but that's I already paint too
Yeah.
much, man.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Does she want to do her own kind of like business on the side of yours?
I think so.
Yeah.
Just be a dynamic power couple. Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, but that shit's not easy, man. Like I've told her, like you can't just do this when you feel like it.
Mhm.
Like 90%. I don't want to say 90. Probably 50% of the time I'm in my office. I don't feel like it, but I don't have a choice,
Yeah.
so it's like whatever. But like there was a point in time where I was in the military where like I was like, man, I want to get out and do this full time. And then I work on shoes for like 3-4 days straight, and I'm like, I'm fucking burnt out.
Yeah.
Fuck this, you know. So it definitely offers that great work-life balance for
Yeah.
sure. So
Is that you're being burnt out by doing the military and the shoe thing,
the
or
shoes,
just the
yeah.
shoes? Gotcha.
Yeah, it offers a really nice, not work-life balance, but balance between the two.
Mhm. You get a nice little break,
Yeah.
like get back into it. Yeah.
Because I couldn't do that for 8 hours a day. I mean, I know sometimes I do, but like, because then I would feel like I would really have to be in the office more consistently, and then have to worry. That's when I'd really have to worry about like my algorithm and content and shit like that. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, nah.
'Cause I was gonna ask too. It's just like I know some of my prior leadership, they'd have like side gigs and shit like
Yep.
that. Like one of them did a whole lot of woodworking
Yeah.
on the side. And fuck, he might be retired now, and that's what
Yeah.
he does full time. But I was just like, is this something you're gonna try and do throughout your whole career? Do it, and like when do you know you have to give up one or the other? Like, have you thought about that potential like
You know
time
what?
coming up?
So when I thought about that, like I just became an NCO last month, and I was like, huh.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was like, I wonder if I will have to give this up because I'll be a supervisor and I'll have more on my plate.
Mm.
But like, I think unless obviously some shit goes down, like the Air Force, depending on which unit you're at, like it really, they're really good with that kind of
Yeah.
like work life balance.
Mm.
But obviously, with my
Yeah.
shoe customs, like that's not there for me. But I don't. There was a time where I thought about it, but now like knowing like that I'm an NCO, maybe like if I become a senior NCO, that might be different. Or depending on a position, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be more sacrifice on that than there is anything else. But like, or when I go overseas, if I get a permanent assignment over there, like that, I might have to,
Yeah.
you know, go a little bit less on it. But I've thought about it, but like to me, that's not unless I really like decide like I don't want to do shoes anymore. Like that's not an option for
Yeah.
me because I've already invested this much fucking time into it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I would give up on it, I don't want it to be like, oh, what if I would have kept going and this would have came up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Well, if you did get an overseas, if you got Europe, you got all the Euro leagues and everything like that going for you.
for
So
sure,
yeah.
for sure, yeah. The time difference, like I wouldn't really be able to do rush orders for the stateside, but like I would still be like super awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you they're big into soccer there. Like
Yep.
when I was there in Europe, there was like soccer fields all over the place.
Yeah.
Everything like that. So that'd probably be your new clientele compared to like football and basketball here.
Yep.
But it might be a little bit harder to get into it. Just knowing what I noticed from like European people.
Yeah.
But that is definitely something like,
What are you
you
talking
still
about
have
with European people?
they're not as outgoing as Americans, is my polite way of saying it.
Okay.
They're very to themselves and not showboaty.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're doing shoes, is it easier to work? I'm assuming that it's easier to work on like leather shoes opposed to like cloth shoes right over there, where it's like, because I feel like when you're doing soccer shoes, they're not leather or anything like that.
Yeah, leather is definitely the preferred canvas, or sometimes like a mesh, like on a slip-on van. But like when you work on like cleats or a controller, that's when you got to get into the using the plastic adhesion promoter, the sanding. You got to add things to the paint and all that jazz. So
What made you start doing controllers? And because I know you did, what was it, PS5 that you did
Yep.
for
And also,
AB?
also the
Yeah.
Xbox for the Steelers one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah. Dude, that's when I really got burnt out on shoes. Like I was like, I had to do something else. And then when I got into controllers, like my love for art was just there again. I was like, this is fucking awesome. So, and then I knew it was gonna open up like an avenue of business. Like this is another lane, right? But it's been crazy.
Yeah.
Like the last week, before I came down, I think I got 3 controllers done. As soon as I get back home tomorrow, I got to do another one, and then, I mean, that's.
I know you did, what was it, a controller for T-Bud? Was he your first one that did the controller?
You talking about for Terrence Crawford?
Yeah.
No, my first few controllers were just for like some friends and like
Yeah.
testing out and stuff like that. But I think was he the first celebrity I customized a controller for? I think so.
I think it is. Yeah.
I think
That's
so.
at least for your Instagram, the
Yeah.
ones up. Yeah, that's what's up there.
Yep. So that was cool, but.
You ever gotten like fangirly around a celebrity, or you
Bro.
try to like lock in?
Bro, my fucking thing is like I get more anxiety than anything, and it's not even because it's celebrity, but it's
Mm.
just like, dude, there was one like anytime I meet a customer, even if it's somebody I don't know, like I'm like, fuck, like I don't want to act stupid or
Yeah.
something. Like there was one time I met a customer here in Omaha, and I got out of my car and fucking bonked my head on the top of my fucking car. I was like, hey, here's your shoes, don't, and I was like, God, I was like, fuck.
Now I look like an idiot.
Yeah, yeah. So, I think, yeah, like even when I met like Dylan yesterday, I was like, this is dope. Like,
Yeah.
this is cool. And then like Terrence, he's a really good guy. But like, yeah, when I went to his house, like, just seeing him because he's a fucking goat. Like,
That's fucking.
it was
the
crazy.
guy.
Yeah.
It was crazy because like I haven't talked to him like in person since I think 2019. Yeah, 2019 when I met him, and then when I seen him in Colorado, I stopped by his house. Like I just stopped in, and he was like, "Yo, what's up, Josh?" And I was like,
Mhm.
"Bro, actually remembers me." So someone
Yeah.
actually, a close friend of his, actually told me, he was like, "Bro, like Terrence like messes with you so heavy," and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, I told him that the homie in Colorado wanted to get you a custom controller," and then he was like, "Oh, you talking about Josh Chesler?" And I was like, "This is fucking awesome."
Yeah.
Um, but he's kind of like he plays kind of like a big brother role to me. He loves fucking with me, bro. Like the
Yeah.
first time when I met him, when I took his controller over to him back in June, the first thing he said, he was like, "Damn, Josh, you got fat." I was like, "Bro," "Bro, you haven't seen me since I was fresh out of basic training." I was like, "Real?" I was like, "Plus, everyone's gonna be fat to you, goddamn it." But
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Fucking.
yeah.
Yeah. Professional boxer.
So, but he just loves to like talk his shit, and we're super competitive. But I think anytime I meet Terrence, just because like I know the level he is on,
Mm.
I think that was one of those like this is fucking dope. And I think the biggest thing for me though is like when I'm able to get stuff signed for like buddies or stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
um, perfect example is I'm customizing cleats for Adrian Peterson's son right now, and his wife. So I picked up some Vikings and an OU helmet today
Yeah.
before I came over here, and she told me because she was gonna pay me, and I was like, hey, instead of paying, can I just send you these helmets for him to sign?
Mhm.
And then like my buddy, you guys remember Trey Bees?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a huge AP is his favorite player of all time.
Mhm.
So I was like, dude, let me get this helmet for him, and that'd be super cool. So stuff like that. Even like when I did cleats for Travis Hunter, he signed some
Yeah.
stuff, and I was giving some stuff away, and like Dak Prescott,
Mhm.
he signed all this shit and
Yeah.
gave it to Cowboys fans. So stuff like that is really cool.
Mhm.
But
How often do you decline payment and just do that stuff instead?
I think it all depends on the situation. If I'm like super busy, or if I like know of if this is like a good opportunity in terms of like if it's like an athlete that's like right on that
Mhm.
level of like yeah they're good
Yeah.
whatever, then I'll say yeah you got to pay. But if it's somebody like
Adrian Peterson's a great
Adrian
example.
Peterson.
right,
Yeah.
or like even like Dak Prescott, like his wife was telling me, she was like, hey, we can give you shout outs on both of our pages. And that's when I was like, well, I know a lot of Cowboy fans,
Mhm.
unfortunately, but
Yeah.
um,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
We them boys.
yeah, I was like, hey, let me just send you all this gear, and then you send it back, and they're like, cool.
Yeah.
So that was awesome, but um, just whenever like I think would be cool, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it just depends,
Have
really.
you hung out with any of the celebrities or anything like that outside of just like giving them of the ones you have met?
Um, yeah, Terrence. When he before his fights, he has a house. Um, it's about 30 minutes away from mine, and when
Mhm.
he comes out to his house, like he just goes out by himself, like
Yeah.
he's that locked in. So I make
Mhm.
sure to visit him, and like when I first gave him his controller, he even had me watch him play like Call of Duty for a while. Then I
Yeah.
came over the next day, and I think even the day after that too, and just um, talking with him. I have to see who else. I think
Being on
that's
first name basis with Terrence Crawford is
Yeah.
bananas to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. You're
Um,
like, yeah, Terrence.
It's like,
Mr.
all right,
Crawford.
yeah.
yeah, give us some
Champ,
respect, all right?
whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's really it. Like obviously I seen Dylan yesterday, but that was for like we talked about some cleats for the bowl game, and then he signed some stuff for me. But
Mhm.
um, I think Terrence is really the biggest one.
Yeah.
When you give those gifts out to people, because you say you kind of like give them out to your friend, do you tell them like, I better not see this shit on eBay or anything like that? You're like, whatever you do with it, you
Yeah,
fucking
I
do
don't
with it.
care.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Like
Yeah.
if they want to sell it, I wouldn't be like, dude, what the hell? I've even had people sell my customs and they've made hella money from it. I'm
Mhm.
like, fuck yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
It's just spreading, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you guys remember Chucky Hepburn, right?
Hmm.
So the basketball player at West.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He plays for Wisconsin or
Louisville.
Louisville now.
Yeah,
Okay.
So he was one of the first customs I ever did some cartoon characters on a pair of shoes, and they went super viral on Facebook. It was fucking crazy. And then like 2 years later, he was like, "Bro, someone just offered me $500 for these shoes." I was like, "Dude, sell them shits like
Yeah.
yesterday." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like if even if I give somebody some
Mhm.
signed shit,
Yeah.
do whatever.
Because it is good exposure. I mean, like they say, all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I take that. You know, yeah, send it, dog. Whatever.
Yeah, so I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
So now that you're out in Colorado, are you following a lot of like Colorado sports?
dude, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I respect the hell out of Shador and Travis, but
Mhm.
I don't like Colorado football.
Me neither.
Just because like they're a huge Husker rival,
Yeah.
but like I think it was because last year, like I respect the hell out of Coach Prime, but he is so cocky, man. And like when they were so shit last year, obviously now like they're good, right? But
Mhm.
like he gives me the vibe of like yes, he cares about his player, but he really mainly cares about himself. And maybe that's wrong, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, Colorado.
I think Aaron's trying
Yeah. There might be a dog that comes in and jumps
Yeah,
on you.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't Colorado football. They're not bad.
Yeah.
Again, I respect the hell out of Shador. You know, obviously I customized cleats
Mhm.
for him, and then Travis, even Coach Prime. I got respect for him, but
Yeah.
like, you know, last year I seen a lot of times where he kind of threw his players under the bus, and I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy that Colorado's not in the Big 12 championship.
Can we talk
They're
about how?
not?
No, they're not. I think the Big 12 is the
Iowa State and
BYU
Arizona State.
Yeah.
I thought BYU was.
Nope. So
Oh my
like what
God.
BYU needed
Wait, I
was
thought you guys needed BYU to win,
yeah, we
and
needed
I thought you guys were gonna go in.
yeah, so it's Iowa State and Arizona State playing in the Big 12 championship.
Oh, I thought BYU would have been in before you
No,
guys.
so
Oh.
Baylor
Can we
beat
talk about
Kansas.
how weak the Big 12 is comparatively
Dude.
to any other
All right.
conference?
Dude.
You know
Any
what?
other conference, dude. Any other conference, they're the weakest. I'm
So
sorry.
We're
look,
also like the only one that have a 9-game league play or like conference play.
Sure.
Compared to like the SEC and Big Ten that have 10
Yeah.
or 11 game conference play. So like I think that really, you know, puts a bad name on us.
I think out of all the power, was it Power 4 or Power 5 now?
Power
Is it
4.
Power 4?
Power 4, yeah.
They're probably the weakest.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though.
ACC,
Like,
I don't know. They're kind of
yeah,
we're tailing right with ACC.
I think for me, like I think that's the main reason why Colorado went to the Big 12 because they knew they weren't going to win the Pac-12. Obviously, the Pac-12 obviously dismantled, but
Yeah.
like I think that was Coach Prime's move. Of like, hey, we can't be in here right now. Let's go down to the Big 12, especially because OU
Yeah.
and Texas are leaving.
Because Colorado was part of the Big 12 when I was growing up, and then they switched over to the Pac-12.
Dude, Oregon
They
right
were.
now
Yeah.
has me so like
Wait.
for the future.
Wait, so Colorado's not in the Big 12 championship?
No.
I thought, yeah, they
So-
were supposed to win over K-State, and then they lost
Yeah.
fucking K-State.
And you guys play Arizona State?
Yep. So,
So
it was like it was
gross.
a weird 4-way tie.
Oh, so dude, you can come in.
No, dog, you
yeah,
can
you're
come on
good.
in.
No.
But it was a weird 4-way tie for first, right? Like going
Yeah.
into the last week of the conference.
Yeah.
And like each team had different criteria for what needed to happen
Yep.
across the Big 12. And for BYU to get in, they needed Baylor to lose to Kansas. But Baylor beat Kansas.
They beat the fuck out of
They beat the
Kansas,
dog
dude.
shit out of them.
Dude, Kansas was on a hot streak.
Yeah, they were.
I'm still
They
fucking-
took down 3 top 25 teams in a row. I'm like, that is
I'm still fucking pissed because when I submitted a parlay, I had Iowa State beating
Yeah.
Kansas. That was my last
Me
leg.
too. I was gonna put that shit up. Like if I was into sports gambling, I would have fucking
Dude, that
put
was
money on it.
to me that was a lock. And then when I seen they were playing
Yeah.
in Arrowhead, I'm like, fuck, Jalen Daniels does good in Arrowhead. And
Yeah.
then I think they caught fire. And then when they beat BYU,
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And then when they beat Colorado,
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I was like, dude, are they going bowling or are they 5-7?
They're 5-7.
Yeah.
With that Baylor loss, they ended up getting 5-7. So like,
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. but like Kansas really fucked up the Big 12.
Well, they started out like they were ranked, and then they just
were.
fucking-
They st-
yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Houston or Utah.
Utah.
Utah was number one.
Well,
with
Cam Rising
Colorado.
got injured though for that,
Yes,
so that's
yeah.
probably what did it. But he might come back.
Yeah.
So
Would you ever do switch off of college
no,
football?
no.
Sorry, the Colorado Avalanche. Like goalies are notorious for painting their helmets. Would you ever do that shit?
dude, I've thought about that, and I would love to.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I will do eventually. Because I've seen some of the artwork, dude, and
Mhm.
like
Goalie helmets are
Goalie
badass.
helmets are.
they're
best.
unmatched.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So
They
And
go
that's
so
unique
hard.
to
Yeah.
that sport.
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Even the basketball shoes. I mean, those
Basketball
pretty
shoes
cool.
and cleats. Yeah.
But it's I think up there in terms of customizing something for sports, like goalie helmets are up there for sure.
Mhm.
Have you reached out to like UNO, the hockey school, or not the
Yeah.
hockey school? Sorry, the college.
The local college.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good at hockey though, but I haven't.
No.
No, I'm trying to like. I wouldn't mind starting at a college level, but I can network to find my
Oh,
way.
yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, has any like G League or like minor league teams or whatnot? Have you done anything for them yet, or has any of them reached out to you yet?
no, not yet.
Well, Bronny's in G League, so I mean, kind of, sort of, yeah.
I thought Bronny was
Went
not
down to G
anymore.
League.
No, he went
So
down
he
to G
played
League.
one game and then they literally just wanted the stat of he plays with his dad and then
Yeah,
I'm not a basketball guy, but the content that
Yeah.
came out, I'm like, damn, that sucks,
yeah,
man.
like I was sitting there watching preseason of Bronny and I'm like, nah, like
I think he should have went another year with NIL thing
Yeah.
because he was getting 5 million or whatever, but that's what he was like his projected like
NIL deals.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I would have stuck around for another 5 mil.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
Who do you follow for college basketball? Who do you follow?
Creighton,
Creighton.
Nebraska too.
Yeah.
So I grew up going to Creighton games. So even before like Doug McDermott was there, but I don't mind, going to like we went to a Nebraska game
Yeah.
yesterday, and then I don't mind Nebraska, but
Are you allowed to talk about because we can cut this? You're doing the whole project
Yep.
for
Yeah.
that's I mean that's pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
yeah, dude, that shit's so yeah, they reached out to me. God, it was probably about a month ago, I think, and they were like, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this idea, and it's coaches versus cancer." So they're
Oh,
there. So on January 30th is when they play. I think they play Illinois, and they're doing it's like how like Creighton does like their pink out game.
Yeah.
They wear the pink
Yeah,
jersey.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
kind of like that version of that. I think a little bit different. And then we're gonna, throw some logos on there. The coaches versus cancer, do some red and gray, and then they gonna wear them during that game. So be 14 pairs. So
dang.
yeah, but
When Nebraska and Creighton played each other, which was what a week ago, who do you go for that? Or you go for Creighton?
yeah.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, again, I root for them both. So like, I mean, it's whatever, but like, it just goes back to like, I grew up going to Creighton games. So like, my
Yeah.
mentor, one of my very first mentors in life, he had season tickets, and like I didn't have the best situation at all, like growing up at home. So that was my very first like experience of like getting away from home for a little bit, and then seeing like how much like that there's crazy opportunities, and that's what it like meant to me like as a kid, because I got to go do this awesome thing, and then I really fell in love with sports, and that's kind of where like it started. So
Who's your like you mentored? Like who was that to you? Like an uncle figure? Is that like a
so that guy was just one of my dad's coworkers.
Gotcha.
But I have a lot of mentors, but that was probably my first one. So
Yeah.
so yeah,
who pushed you to do more of the artwork and the shoes? Like who's that mentor for you?
myself.
Yourself?
Yeah, that was all. like mentors were like they were more of like just do what you believe and I think my thing is like I push myself every single day because growing up in life like we were poor and I grew up without and I told myself like I will never be like that in life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All love to my dad because I know he did his hardest and stuff like that, but I just like that's not an option for me. So that's why I'm around the clock 24/7.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then like there's like I have nieces and nephews and younger generations that look up to me and that's very motivating to me because I know like growing up as a kid when I had people like that I look up to, I was like, dude, they're fucking awesome, and they inspire me to do, better, and that's just what I want to be. So trying to pave the way for the new generation. So
What what got you into like doing art and like customs for like shoes specifically?
I think so for art was kind of like I was never a person that like would get into trouble, but like I'd say it kept me out of trouble
Mhm.
or just kind of kept me like it was something that kind of like helped my mind get away from
Yeah.
things. And then, growing up I was a big sneakerhead.
Mhm.
So I really just put two and two together, and then
Yeah.
that's where it kind of went off from there.
Mhm.
So,
'Cause I don't remember growing up like a lot of custom shoes or anything.
yeah,
It kind of really did start seeing it. I'd say middle school time
yeah,
frame.
100%.
It was like late seventh grade year into
Yeah,
eighth grade was when I
yeah,
really started seeing like
mhm,
people with custom shoes. I'm like, all right, that's pretty sick.
yeah,
And then kept on seeing it more and more and
yep,
more. And now players are getting fined in the no fun league.
yep, yeah,
Yeah, for having, cool shoes. And like, yeah, it's definitely wild to see that blow up
yeah,
of custom shoes. And it kind of happened right at the same time. I
yep.
mean,
I think the thing that's crazy about players getting fined for that is like I think the custom shoes and cleats can get spun for a really positive thing. And for example, so when I customized cleats for Nadam Kinsu, this was the year they won the Super Bowl, and the cleats that I customized for him auctioned off for almost 8 grand.
damn.
Dang.
Yeah, so that was so behind Tom Brady, that was the second highest pair of cleats that got auctioned off. So Tom Brady, I think, was at like 10 or
Yeah.
11,000, and then number two was Sue at like I think it was 77 or 7,500.
Jesus.
So all that money went towards his charities that he
Mhm.
wanted to, right? So like
Yeah.
you look at like the NFL obviously does that and they're doing it now. But imagine if the NBA did that.
Yeah.
Like for LeBron James shoes, and then
Mhm.
you have like if they wear them for a game or two, they can do that same thing. Dude,
Yeah.
that's so much money
Yeah.
that is
Mm-hmm.
going towards good things,
Mhm.
but it's I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know why that's not happening. I mean, there's probably some logistics behind it
Mhm.
and whatnot, but
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
because the NFL has really let up on it, especially when sneaker customizing got really popular, like
Mhm.
and started to become more of a trend.
Yeah.
Because before that, like you're right, like people would get fined,
Yeah.
and then even in college, it's a big thing too. Like
Mhm.
they don't get fined, but it has to be like team
Yeah.
colors. You know
Team
what I
color.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Do you have to read the regulations on like NFL or college, like of what you can and cannot do?
no, because I know each team has a equipment manager or somebody who inspects that stuff. So like when I did the custom cleats for Dylan Raiola, he was supposed to wear them versus Iowa, and then
Mhm.
their Matt Rule came down and said like, "Hey, I want everyone to be uniform this week," so that's
Yeah.
why he didn't wear them last week
Okay.
because that was the plan. And then he hit me up
Yeah.
like Wednesday, and he was like, "Bro, this happened," and I was
Yeah.
like,
Those are the salute to service ones, right?
"Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
those
yep,
are
yep."
pretty tough.
So
Let me search my group.
No, yeah, you're good.
You want a beer or anything? One up.
Yeah, sure. I'll go for a beer. What about you?
You want another water?
I'm good, brother. I appreciate you. Yeah,
Another water?
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, it's because I remember. Yeah, it was like probably what freshman sophomore year. I started seeing like players getting fined for it. I'm
Yep,
like, and like it's for somebody wearing shoes because her mom passed away from breast cancer.
yep,
I'm like, that is wild. You're gonna sit there and fine this dude
yeah, yeah,
for
man.
like having some sort of like, oh yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah, so
And has that did I'm assuming it didn't because you did blow up still.
yeah.
But did that play any effect towards your business and growth or
Like from players getting fined
yeah.
or no, I think it was more of like I no, I don't that's never really like affected me.
Okay.
It's more of like I think the players that do get fined, like in the NFL, I think it was more of like they would sneak those cleats in maybe, or
Yeah.
they didn't just get checked.
Okay.
And then like that's when, who's the commissioner, Roger
Mhm.
Goodell, he was like big on like
Yeah.
not doing that. I
Yeah.
think he's became more lenient
Mhm.
as time's gone by, but yeah, that's more of like the players thing. It has nothing to do with the artist, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Fuck, I had a question on the tip of my tongue. So who's a player or an athlete, celebrity that is like your dream want to do something for?
You know what's crazy is it was actually Terrence Crawford and Ndamukong Suh. Because
Oh wow.
Ndamukong Suh is my behind Tom Brady is my second favorite NFL athlete of all
Mhm.
time. And what's
Yeah.
crazy is like, dude, I fanboy with him a little bit when we hopped on a Zoom call. Like, I was like, dude, I'm from Nebraska, huge Husker fan.
Mhm.
And then I was like, ah, shit, like maybe I shouldn't have said that, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, it was cool because he was a big supporter. He's a big supporter of the military. So when he
Yeah.
found out I was in the military, he was like, dude, this is actually like really awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ndamukong Suh, I almost actually customized a pair of cleats for Tom Brady that same year, but
Oh
the
wow.
person that ran that whole thing was like, "Oh, we just found somebody," and I was like,
Mhm.
"Fuck." So,
Yeah.
I'd say,
Thank you.
yeah, Ndamukong Suh, Terrence Crawford. I think another one is probably like Doug McDermott. He's
Doug
not a
McDermott.
big
Yeah.
time NBA player, but he's just my favorite
Yeah.
basketball player of all time.
No.
So, um,
For Sue, I got a Rams jersey upstairs. I love Sue, and I
yeah.
love when he was with the Rams. Do you get a lot of people shitting on you when he was like really dirty when he first came in?
Oh, dude, yeah, all the time. Like when I
Yeah,
would tell people like, "Oh, I'm customizing cleats for Sue," a lot of people would be like, "Oh, I don't fucking like that
I
guy."
fucking love Sue.
Oh
Even
yeah,
for
Oh
that
that
shit,
yeah.
I was like, dude, we needed that in
I
the
just
NFL
think he
during that time of year.
plays aggressive and like he plays with his heart on every single thing.
Dude, even when he was stomping on him, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
well, I think that was like maybe it wasn't intentional, but like every player has to have that moment if they want to be taken serious, in my opinion, like don't fuck with me, right?
Yeah.
And every moment's
Yeah.
different, right? Whether it's like you fuck up a quarterback and get a sack really bad, or like
Mhm.
whatever the case may be, but like even when he was coming out of college, like people knew like this dude is fucking like serious, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And he's locked in.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, he's a fucking beast. And even when like he went like on the Eagles for that 1 year, like
Yeah.
he was even a really good player,
Yeah.
right? Hopefully Nebraska hires him as a D line coach, but we'll
That would
See
see.
also
that? I
be
mean, it's
that,
cool that he even has like the weight rooms named after him and shit.
yeah.
That's so
Bro,
cool.
well, you think about it. Like, so obviously, I don't know if it's official, but like they said how Coach Knighton is going to Florida State with Tony White.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's obviously our D line coach. Could you imagine if Sue came here as a D line
Yeah.
coach? Was like, dude, I was the number one draft pick. Was he number one or number two?
I think
He
it
was
was number
number two.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
obviously, but obviously, like his resume,
First round pick.
right?
Yeah.
Resume speaks for himself. Like you're not only having like because a lot of players when they retire from the league, whatever, they go coach. But like
Mhm.
this isn't just some mediocre player that's
Yeah.
like
Fuck.
I want to get into coaching, right? This
Mhm.
is like a goat,
Yeah.
and he's coming back to Nebraska
Yeah.
where like he's big on like the fucking black shirts.
Mhm.
And he can be like, let me train you how I trained myself and how I
Mhm.
was trained to be who I was,
Yeah.
right?
And
Like,
my mentors taught me. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, he was Bo Pelini era, right?
Tail end of Bo Pelini, I thought.
He was, yeah, I
No,
think
it
Like,
should have been tail end because his senior game would have been Texas.
that was, fuck, don't remind me of that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
bro,
but like,
oh nine.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry,
No, bro,
but that's
you know what's crazy is every time I talk to somebody and they're like, "Yeah, I'm a Longhorn." I'm like, "Dude, I hate
fuck
you
you.
and I hate
yeah.
Mac Brown."
Yeah,
Like
y'all didn't
for
call a timeout. That shit did not
Yeah.
bro,
happen. That
that
shit.
shit haunts me. You know what's crazy is I went to go walk through my childhood house today, and that was the fucking house I was in when I was watching that game.
Yeah.
God damn it, full circle.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
and there I watched a podcast with Bo Pelini like 2 years ago when he was on, and they actually brought that up, and he was like, "That's a bullshit call. There
was it
wasn't."
bussin'?
Yeah, busting with the
Yeah, I
boys. Yep.
saw that shit.
Um, Bo Pelini didn't think there was a second on the clock, but I think there was a
You think that
second.
was the second?
I think like to be fair, but it's just like yeah, Sue fucked up Colt McCoy that game.
Yeah, I did.
I was what's crazy is
Well, that should have been
when
Rex Burkhead's freshman year too, and he was doing pretty well as a freshman. He was
yeah
pretty well.
yeah so Yeah, dude. If we can get Ndamukong Suh, I don't know who's gonna be the replacement, but like to me, like Nebraska's kept up with Coach Rule.
Mm.
He's kept up the university. Like if I'm Matt Rule, I'm saying, hey, like, do you want to give this a shot?
I don't like when people are right now. They're like, he needs to get fired. I'm like, bro, it's his second year.
I think Nebraska fans just have no patience,
They do have no
and
patience.
their standards are so high. It's almost like Cowboys fans in a sense.
I've made that comparison, yeah, and I don't like it because I don't like the Cowboys fans, and I don't want to be compared to the
That's
Cowboys.
fair. That's
But
fair.
I see that shit too, where it's like we both were successful in the '90s, and you want that shit back.
Every year is our year.
Every year's our year,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. God, I think Sue would be if I'm Rule, like I'm just nervous about all the decommits and transfers we're gonna have.
Yeah, right
Like
now.
the thing that sucks though is like if you're gonna transfer, like why don't you wait until after the bowl game? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly.
Like
Because what Malcolm, he was the first one, kind of like out
Malcolm.
the wide receiver.
Oh, Malachi.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Malachi.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep, yep. And then Gabe Ervin announced today, which he never played. Stephon Thompson,
Mm,
he didn't even start and didn't even play that much. Jamari Butler is
that one sucks.
that sucks because he just announced he was coming back.
Yeah.
And then like Vincent Carroll Jackson, which man, maybe some of these transfers are like because we have to cut down.
Yeah.
Like we have to cut down like 30, 40. Like there's gonna be a lot of transfers, right?
Yeah.
But also some of it is like obviously Coach Knight and Tony White. Like, I mean, on the defense though, for Tony White, everyone's leaving other than, we still can have Malcolm Hartzog or Marcus Buford.
Yeah.
So they could um leave or they could stay. Um we'll see. It's gonna be a wild ride. And I
Mm,
know Matt Rule doesn't really believe in the transfer portal, but he's definitely gonna have to start believing because
yeah.
it's gonna be huge. So
Yeah. The thing with the transfer portal that I'm upset about it is like there was that Iowa player who went to
Hayden
Alabama.
Proctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he took all your guys' money and left.
No, that was a Hawkeye, not a
Yeah.
Cyclone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm
yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That is crazy that he was like, yeah, yoink, and then just fucking
Then
dip.
went right back.
And then Kirk commented on it like during a press conference, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Yeah, he took all of our money." And then,
Yeah, and
like
then ran.
to me though, like I think NIL has to have a contract, right?
Yeah.
Like if you are a player and you're getting paid this much, like I don't necessarily think that like everyone should know how much you're getting paid,
Mhm.
but like it should come with like, hey, you gotta play here. Like this, is how much you get a
Yeah.
year, not just like, hey, here's all this money.
Mhm.
Like, hopefully, you show up to practice in
Yeah.
2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that'll happen as times go on because a lot of coaches are wanting that
Yeah.
because it's like it's not fair to the university, right? Like or
Yeah.
the donors. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And like it's not about them, but it's also like if the players are gonna benefit, like it has to be a two-way
Yeah.
street. You know what
It
I mean?
does.
So
And like I was thinking at first, it's just like, all right, cool. They have to play so many number of games.
yep,
And I was like, okay, but what if they get injured? Then they at least have to be part of the team through so many games.
yep,
It's like the good compromise. I at least
yeah.
think of it like you at least have to be here for 6 games. All right,
And
like
yeah,
that's it.
and the thing is like if I'm getting paid as a player, I would say, hey, pay me every once in a while, so I actually feel like I'm earning my money,
Yeah,
and not like, oh, I just got paid 500 grand and now I can just half-ass shit. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Um, because that's what allows people being comfortable. That
mhm,
that allows that to
yeah,
grow. So yeah, I think it'll definitely come with some sort of contract or
yeah,
something, some sort of like at least agreement. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Um, but we'll see. NILs, I mean, it's just like free agency now.
yeah.
It's
It
it's
really
it's
is.
literally
Yeah.
like you enter the portal, who's gonna give me the most amount of money? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
It's made college football from what I grew up a completely new like thing. And I'm sitting there like having to pay attention to so much more shit. Like oh, so this player is going all the way to this conference.
Hmm.
Now is he going to be just as good as he was in the Mountain West, going to the SEC, and they're expecting him to be an all-star?
I think for me though, like as a Husker fan, like the NIL era is gonna benefit us so
Mm,
much because it's like if you have a team like we obviously just made a bowl game, but like we can still like our 1890 like NIL funds is
yeah.
nuts. We have top 10 in the
Mhm.
country. we can pay a really good player like Michael Terry is supposed to
Yeah.
commit. I don't know if it's either us or Texas, but like
Mhm.
the fact that we have a shot is because we can say, hey, we'll give you $1 million or
Yeah.
whatever. But then you have teams like Texas. I mean, they're obviously already good, but then they got a $20 million roster. Yeah, horns down
Yeah.
is right.
Mm.
But yeah, it's NIL is just, and then you have Oregon,
Mhm.
unlimited NIL basically.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And you get all the Nike deals just because
That's why I
the
told
Nike
my guys
factory is
I'm
like
fucking
right
nervous
there.
about Oregon right
yeah,
now.
it's crazy.
Oregon's gonna take over everything.
Well, Dan Lanning is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pretty good coach right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
And Oregon's like consistently like as a kid, like they've always been.
He's been up there.
Yeah.
You know, when Marcus Mariota was there, he was
Yeah.
fucking like the guy.
he
Yeah.
was such a bust. I feel bad for him,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he
He
came
was,
in.
but
What
he
was he?
wasn't.
He was with the Commanders this year. He came in for
Yeah.
like a game and he did pretty well.
Marcus Mariota is kind of like a young Joe Flacco. He shows up, plays a couple good games, and then he becomes a bum, and then
I don't know.
sits
about
out
it.
for a
I don't
little
know if I
bit.
agree with that one, but
Maybe Joe Flacco was a bad comparison, but
I
like,
get what you're saying though.
yeah,
Yeah.
where like he shows up, plays a couple good games, and then he's fucking. Oh yeah, I can't play anymore.
Yeah.
I forgot how to play football.
yeah, I don't know who would be a good comparison, but yeah, he was even like Tim Tebow,
Yeah,
Tim Tebow.
dude,
Yeah.
like going crazy,
Yeah.
Heisman winner, and
Yeah.
then
his rookie year, he took the Broncos to the playoffs
yeah,
against my Steelers. That was a heartbreaking,
Mhm.
season for me because it was the year in between. It was one of the years in between we beat Seattle, and then the year before we lost to Green Bay.
Mm.
Oh no, it was the Cardinals in Green Bay, and yeah, that happened. I'm sitting there like, all right, cool, we got another playoff run.
yeah.
What teams do you follow besides the Huskers? Obviously.
Like NFL.
Yeah, NFL, NBA.
I'm a Pats guy in NFL. And then NBA, I'm a Spurs fan.
What
So.
the MLB? Because I know you did the cleats for. Was it a? It was a Nationals guy, right?
Diamondbacks.
Was it Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I think for MLB, I'm a White Sox fan and also I'm a Royals fan.
All right, you're bouncing all over. I need to know, like, what is his roadmap? Why do you like the
Yeah.
Spurs to the Pats
So
to?
so it really started with like the Pats. Like in elementary school, I played quarterback, so obviously Tom Brady.
Mm.
The
Mhm.
Spurs because like that was like one of the first teams I ever watched in the NBA, and I just liked their uniforms.
Mhm.
And then Manu Ginobili played there at the time,
Oh
so I was
yeah,
like,
Mm.
dude,
Like,
this guy's awesome,
yeah.
right? And then the Royals, because they're a team closest to
Yeah.
Nebraska, but also the White Sox because that was one of the first teams I think I played with in MLB, a video game. So
What
like,
MLB video game were you? Were you the 2K back in the day?
yeah, I think it was 08 when the Mets were on the cover.
Yeah.
I think
Yep,
it was 360. So,
yeah.
I started with Roy Halladay on the cover. I think that was 09.
yeah.
I have my 2K PlayStation 2 case
Dude,
upstairs.
it's great when I talk to kids, or not talk to kids, but when I
Yeah.
talk to my like younger like siblings, and they're like,
Mhm.
2K is a basketball game. I was like, it wasn't always a basketball game.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
It used to be a whole lot more.
Yeah, yeah,
They really took everything from us.
yeah. Yeah, I think 08 was probably that was my stuff.
I'm glad that like college football brought back that like cross, like you can go from college football to
mm.
Madden
Yep,
again.
Yep.
But like the most recent games have not been that good. It wasn't like
They're all the fucking same, dude.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
all
like-
they're all football games. They don't make it seem like it's
I
any
think, like,
different
the
except for the
last-
stadium pulse.
yeah.
That's cool.
the
but-
Stadium Pulse was pretty badass, and we got a lot of good memes out of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been loving those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I seen a few memes on that, but I think NCAA they were like, dude, at first like when I first played it, I was like, dude, this is the best game ever, which is still fucking great. But then like I would always get cooked by wide
Yeah.
receivers,
Mhm.
and I'm like, dude, come on,
Yeah.
like we got we got to chill out. And then like when they made, what really pissed me off is when they made Colorado's defense a higher rating than Nebraska's, and I'm
That's
like, there's no
ridiculous.
fucking
It's
chance.
fucking ridiculous.
There's no chance at all, right?
Oh yeah, it is getting close to your time.
It's
right?
That's-
all
I was
good. It's all
gonna-
good.
yeah.
We got a little bit of time.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So that was and they still haven't changed it. Like
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is nuts. But yeah, NCAA, like, what's crazy is like obviously they paid every player $600 and then gave them the
Mhm.
game, and like, what is it like? I did the math, and then like it was so much money, but then like they made it even so much more money on release
Yeah.
day. Like that was just like nothing,
Oh yeah.
and it's crazy.
Yeah.
With the amount of people that have been talking about it for years, I remember when I was going to college in an English class, that was someone's paper was why NIL deals, and it was basically because they wanted NCAA back as a football game. I was like,
I remember the first college football game I played is the one you could play as the mascots.
was that with the Razorbacks guy on the cover? I can't remember.
I
who.
think it might have been the Razorbacks, dude.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
one I started on. Yeah.
And like I just remember playing as the Stanford Trees.
Yep, the Cardinal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just no arms, just chucking the ball downfield.
Yep.
And it's just like the wildest animations going on.
Or like the Syracuse, the big orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fuck, I went over to one of my buddies' houses because I didn't have it. I had pretty much all these Mad games.
Yeah.
And he was like showing me like he had told me about it at school.
Yeah.
Went over to his house and I got to watch it for the first time. I'm like, all right, let me get on the sticks.
Yeah.
Like, let me hop on this.
Dude, you remember they made a game, I think it was for PS2, but it was called NFL Coach, where you
Yeah.
wouldn't even play the game. You were
Oh,
just a coach the
Yeah,
whole time.
that was
Yeah.
oh fuck, I have the game too upstairs. It had John Madden
Probably
on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a black and white cover and everything, and it came on a 2-disc like set where you had like the actual Madden and then you had the coach version of
Yeah.
it. And like I get it for people who have patience.
Yeah.
You can sit there and do it because now like when I was playing college football 25, like I could actually sit there and look through all the stats. But as a kid with, hyper and shit, no, I just want to play the game. Like this is too boring.
Yeah. Is Madden a top 5 game of all time?
Madden as a brand, sure.
Yeah.
But like each of the different ones, I got no an argument with a guy who's like, dude, this new Madden is the best, and it's like, dude, it's the same.
The same,
Yeah.
just better graphics, and then one or two more different like juke moves or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and he's like, no, dude, it's completely different. I was like, it's really not, dude.
That's what everyone says like the first few days after
Mhm.
release day, and you're like, dude, this is awesome. And then like a few weeks, you're like, dude, this is the same.
It's
This
the
is
same game.
buggy as shit,
Yeah.
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 I think the last one that I liked the most was Madden 14. Was probably my favorite one because it had the most like
Hold on,
shit
Madden
that-
14. I know. Let me think of the cover. Madden 14.
I'm forgetting who's on it.
If I'm remembering right, I don't want to. Was that the one with Gronk? on the
No, that was
cover?
15 or 16.
I thought 16 was when Richard
Odell.
Sherman.
It was I
Was it
think.
Odell.
I think.
Oh look.
Because it was Richard. I know Richard Sherman was on the cover as a Seahawk, and then
No, I think 17 was Gronk. 16 was Odell, and I think 15 was Sherman.
okay, so the one before that, who the fuck would be before Richard Sherman?
Was that the Madden 25?
That would have been Barry Sanders on the cover with Madden 25.
And that was 13.
That was 13.
Yep.
And the one right after that?
Okay, I know who it is.
Oh, okay.
We've said his name during this podcast.
Peterson?
Yes.
Oh
There
shit!
it is.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So yeah, it was Madden 14.
Mm.
It had like the best like extra modes with the customization. You
Yep.
could do the field,
Yep.
fans.
Y'all ever see that clip of Adrian Peterson getting interviewed by a lady who had no idea who the fuck he was?
No.
No.
You'd never seen that?
No.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to send you guys. It's so
Yeah.
funny. She's talking to him, she's like, "What's your name?" She goes, "Adrian Peterson." She goes, "Are you like that Adrian Peterson?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
No.
Which like, dude, like I looked at him and was like, "That's fucking Adrian Peterson right now."
Yeah.
And he's like talking about groceries or something
Yeah.
in Arizona. It was
Yeah.
the wildest shit.
I remember when a reporter asked Kevin Durant, they're like, "Why do they call you KD?" It's like, and he's like, "Cause my name is Kevin and Durant." It's like,
Yeah.
Or like there was in the NBA playoffs, and this is when Chris Paul played for the Clippers, and they lost that game, and this reporter was like, "Do you think you guys are gonna win this series?" And then Chris Paul was like, "What do you want me to say? Like, you want me to
Yeah.
just say no?" And he was
Yeah.
like, "I don't know." It's like, dude, yeah.
All right, so you might not be able to answer this, but who is the GOAT in basketball? Is it Michael Jordan or LeBron?
To me, man, I think it's LeBron, and I say that because, like, he's obviously been in for 20 years. Look what he's doing. Still 20 years. I will say it's tough though because like Michael changed the game forever.
Yeah.
And like, but I will say, like, the game has changed so much in the speed. I feel like if Michael played now, he would still be really, really good.
hmm
I just don't know if he would be like, because the competition has obviously gotten better and the
Yeah.
game has
The
advanced.
athleticism has
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
increased a lot.
Like,
Yeah.
if you have like Giannis Antetokounmpo on like Larry Bird, like Larry Bird
Yeah.
is just slow. Like, he can score,
Mhm.
but like you could be slow back then. You can't
Yeah.
be slow now. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'd have to say LeBron, man. I think he's been dominant for so long.
Yeah.
I wish he would be a little bit more like Kobe, to where he's like, I can take over rather
Mhm.
than like a pass first type of guy. But yeah, I'd have to say he's probably my GOAT. And it's tough though, because like I don't know if like it's a fair comparison, because the game has been so much
Yeah.
different from back
And
then
like
to now.
the way I approach that question is usually just like, of their eras, I think they're both the goats of their eras.
Yeah,
It's really
for
hard to
sure.
compare
For
because
sure.
like when Jordan was playing, the Detroit Pistons were pretty much bullying people, like beating them on the fucking court.
Yeah.
And like there's no one doing that in today's modern age
Yeah,
of
for sure.
basketball.
For sure.
And so like
Ron Artest and
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
And like the Pistons were just brutal back in the late 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that today. But you still do have great defensive players.
Yeah.
They're just handling in different ways with much more grace and
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough question, man. But I think you're right. I think of
Yeah.
their eras, like obviously they're both the GOAT.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you're right, the sport has changed
so much.
Yeah.
So much. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like if you put LeBron in the era back then, he probably won't do good with the physicality,
Mhm.
right? But if you put Jordan in this era, like, he might do good with the speed, but you have like a guard like Curry.
Yeah.
Like, can he guard
Who
that? I
can
don't know.
pop up a fucking three from anywhere pretty
Because
much on the
because
court.
like Allen Iverson was kind of one of the like guards that really, I don't want to say introduced speed, but like at least that's where I noticed it. And then he crossed up NJ,
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah, he threw in speed and his skill too.
Yeah.
And it's just like being able to move the ball in ways that like at that point in time, like no one would ever expected that to actually
Yeah.
like dribble and move your body like that. And it's just a continuous evolution of basketball throughout each year,
Yeah.
each time.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, and like Larry Bird is really, really good, but I don't even know how
Yeah.
you do now, because you just
Larry Bird though also had a like it wasn't the prettiest jump shot, but oh my god, it was clean.
dude. That's when I shoot a basketball. That's what people say my jump
Yeah.
shot looks like.
Yeah.
Go behind the head, and
Yeah.
it's like a cannon,
Mhm.
like a cannonball or whatever. But
Yeah. He's never really been the biggest basketball person. I'm taking to his first basketball game on the 15th.
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
we'll go to fucking Hilton Stadium and stuff. We're gonna do we're gonna do Beer Olympics in the summer. You know, you want to try to come out and play some basketball with us, and that's one of the games.
Dude.
Yeah, so we're
I
gonna
might be
have
here.
we're still
I'll get some wine coolers for you, dude. Don't even worry about
yeah.
it.
So we're gonna have football, basketball, and beach volleyball,
Yeah.
and then at least 2 drinking games, which is gonna be like one's like a relay-ish kind of deal.
Yeah.
We're talking about doing a case race for
Case
like
race.
the last one.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
Yeah.
yeah, and depending on how many people show up, we'll try and split it up as evenly as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be like we're hoping to at least get.
I'm practicing basketball. I'm ass. I'm
Yeah,
complete
that's
ass.
Yeah, I've been fucking rusty as shit. Like I was out there and like I'm trying to do my same motion. I'm like, nope, it is not there.
Every
anymore.
shot's different for me. I'm like either like late
Yeah.
release or I'm like two-handed. And I'm
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
either
Chucking
got
it.
like a fucking
It's like a
line
dart.
drive to the
Yeah.
rim, or it's like a super good float,
yeah.
but
and then
like,
it's like
super
10
short.
yards short
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
basket. Yeah.
For sure.
Because we played one-on-one game.
What was the score? Like 2-11 or something like that.
We played till 11, and I
Mm.
think you scored 1 layup.
Mm.
Hooping.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, hooping. And then like he sent me a Snapchat video.
You should
of
see my
him-
hold on. You should see my shoes, man.
Let's see him.
You want to customize them?
Yes.
Let's go.
The Walmart special.
The A1, the
And what?
$25 right there, man.
Can't beat it.
I saw someone, there's a trainer at our gym who wears those shoes.
What?
I swear to God, I saw him and I was staring at him the
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
day.
All right, so actually, this is back on the customs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sorry. With this glossy shit,
Yeah.
how does that handle with like the paint and whatnot?
So that you kind of take that away with like when you acetone and then you
Okay.
sand it down
Yeah.
and then acetone a few times and
Yeah.
stuff. So
I was just curious because like we talked about leather and the like mesh and everything. I was like, I completely forgot there are some like glossy,
yeah,
shoes. So it was a good, circle around.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we'll send these out.
Walls, by the way, man, if you're ever looking for customs,
Yeah.
just letting you know.
Well, it's getting close to you needing to skedaddle on out and meet some
Unfortunately,
clients.
Dude,
So
I had fun. This
yeah.
was fun.
Yeah.
I gotta circle back here, man. Next time I'm in town,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do this again.
Yeah.
Maybe I can.
I'd love to do another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because we'll be back in May. I think that Mother's Day weekend will be here for a few days. That won't be around Christmas time, so I can definitely bring something. And then
I'll send you his and ones.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I have to put a Coors Light logo on them bad boys.
Something, man. Because then I'm like,
Get you the tackle box bush
Yeah.
on there. Show up to the Beer Olympics with the.
I'd wear them. I wore them out playing basketball with you, and I was like, someone's gonna clown me for these. I think some young kids were like looking at me like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck is he wearing?"
Yeah. Fuck,
Yeah.
dude, if you're gonna do yours, I gotta send my basketball shoes up to you. It was like get my own. Like he gets the tackle box, I'll just get Coors Light.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid by Coors Light or Bush, so we're not doing either one of those guys.
Neither one of those.
I'll wear like your logo, like just customs or whatever you want to do. I'll wear whatever the fuck you want to put on there.
Dude, yeah. I'll have to circle back here, man.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, once it won't be Christmas, so I won't be as busy, and I can bring some stuff up to kind of show. And
Do you have any vices like smoke cigars or anything like that? Because it doesn't have to be just Coors Light. We'll do whatever the fuck you want to do here.
wine
Tequila.
coolers,
Wine coolers,
wine
do
cooler,
that.
take a
Wine coolers
shot or
Yeah,
whatever.
we'll do slap bag as we're playing. So
Oh,
it's like,
dude.
so
Yeah. They're in the fucking next
yeah.
slap bag all the way around. Next thing you know, it's for fucking 5 hours and we're just hammered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be sweet, man, for sure.
All right.
But I wanna like I know these go for about an hour and a half, but I feel like we could be here all day.
Oh,
Oh,
dude, yeah.
I
Honestly,
looked
yeah.
at the clock when I went to take a piss.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn.
I just
that's
did that
quick.
too. I was like, damn.
I looked down like probably when I saw you looking at your phone, I was like, oh shit, are we getting close? I'm like, oh,
I know the same
fuck,
thing. I was
we've
like,
been
damn, we're
here
keeping
for a
them. And I was
minute.
like, oh damn.
Yeah.
So we can definitely
Oh,
set
yeah.
aside some more time.
Yeah.
Because when I come in May, it's not going to be as hectic. This
Yeah.
is like, I just came down really to get all these shoes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because when I talked to Nebraska, they were like, yeah, it might be kind of hard to ship them to. Because they thought I lived in Omaha still, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I don't. And then when they told me, oh, we'll kind of let you know, I was like, no, I will come down because I don't want this opportunity to go to waste. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I definitely want to do this again, man.
Yeah.
This was
Sweet.
This was fun.
All right, man.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining the MattCast. It's not a podcast, it'd be just an interview. So yeah. I'm Matty Light, joined by my co-host, Matty Heavy. And thank you again, Chesler Customs,
Yes,
or
sir.
Josh,
Absolutely.
for coming out and joining us
man.
and giving us, this first interview for us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dude,
All right.
let's
Yeah.
go. There
All
it
right,
is.
Let's go.